Hey everyone, welcome to Josette's Soul Salon, where we have weekly conversations that answer the question, what does it take to live a soul expressed life? I'm your host, Josette LeBlanc, and during this episode, I speak with Jacque Boone, owner, founder, and CEO of Reveal Wellness. There still exists a great divide in healthcare between the conventional model of health and illness and the more holistic model that includes emotions. What becomes possible when we shift towards a more comprehensive perspective on health when it comes to heart disease? Jacque Boone is the perfect person to answer this question. Jacque is a board-certified acute care nurse practitioner, light worker, and patient advocate. She holds many titles, including Certified Functional Medicine Practitioner, Certified Integrative Nutrition Health Coach, Usui Holy Fire Reiki Master, and Holistic Pelvic Care Practitioner. She started her own integrative medicine micro practice in 2018 and has since embraced her intuitive and energetic gifts, bringing those into full integration with the healing work she does as a nurse practitioner. While running her business, she continues to work in the conventional healthcare system, treating patients with advanced heart failure. During this episode, we dive into the world of heart health, the differences in perspectives between conventional and holistic medicine, bridging science and spirituality, the impact of emotional work on physical health, healthcare delivery in the United States, and the ripple effect of holistic medicine. You'll want to listen to the end to hear Jacque explain how the current unsustainable healthcare paradigm can shift with an increasing availability of holistic healthcare. To connect with Jacque, check the links in the show notes. And if you enjoy what you hear, make sure to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. Now let's get into the salon. All right, Jacque. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here with you to be talking about this topic. I know it's something that you and I have gone back and forth on quite a bit, and it's just a pleasure to talk about holistic heart care in public with you. Yeah. Yes.
I love it. I'm
yes.
so excited. I'm so excited.
Yes. Oh, awesome. I got chills everywhere. Okay, good start. So yeah, today we're here to talk about true holistic heart care. So the intention is to look at heart care from all facets. So spirituality, physical, like the physical, spiritual, emotional, mental. This is really Jacque's specialty. I can only speak maybe from the spiritual perspective, maybe the emotional. We're bringing Jacque in today into the conversation to talk about it all, but also she has the physical element that I don't. And of course, like everything within this podcast, the ultimate question that we ask is, how does this relate to living a soul-guided life, right? So we'll bring it back to that. But Jacque, first, I don't know, where should we start? True holistic heart care. What is it? What have you observed in your? Or first of all, can you say a little bit more about your background, because the physical part really comes from your background as a functional medicine nurse practitioner. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can explain that a bit.
Yeah, and thanks for that, because I've realized that a lot of people there's a lot of terminology and a lot of stuff out there that people aren't familiar with. So I am an acute care nurse practitioner. So a nurse practitioner is a nurse that goes through additional training at the graduate level. And we are able to assess, diagnose, and treat. So we can order labs, order prescriptions, make diagnoses, make treatment plans, that kind of thing. So similar to, a physician's assistant, we can do those kinds of things. I started in healthcare on the conventional side as a nurse, and then as a nurse practitioner, I worked in the ICU, in a cardiovascular ICU, very heavy in advanced technologies and all the invasive stuff that we can do. I worked on a unit that did ECMO, which is like an external bypass, like heart-lung bypass machine, and we would have patients on this because they were just in profound failure of their heart and lungs. And I then moved into working mostly with heart failure patients and patients that were requiring heart transplant, artificial pumps sewn into the heart, known as LVADs. lots of advanced stuff. And so I've been kind of in that space on the conventional side for about 8 years. And it just simultaneously, I always had this interest in like there's more to it, and I learned about through some podcast rabbit holes. I went down, learned about functional medicine. And functional medicine is a framework of looking at health and well-being. And functional medicine is a systems-based approach that seeks to identify and treat the underlying root cause of disease rather than just putting a Band-Aid on symptoms. So, for example, if somebody has high blood pressure, instead of saying, here's this high blood pressure medicine, take this the rest of your life, we say, okay, why does this person have high blood pressure? So it's kind of built on this foundational understanding that the body wants to be well, that the human body's default is for balance and wellness and wholeness. And that if we have these symptoms of disease, something's out of balance, and we need to just kind of address some external factors to let the body come back into balance. So I've been working on that functional medicine certification for a while, and everything, all of these paths, as the universe always does, all of these paths that I was on and all these things that were seemingly separate, completely separate entities, just in the last few years have just completely come together and melded in such a beautiful way, and in a way that, like, I know why I'm here. And I see all of those pieces coming together. So from over the years that I was working with advanced heart failure patients, like all of these people that I'm seeing in clinic and in the hospital have very severe end-stage heart disease. These are usually terminal diagnoses for people. Sometimes they recover. It was very apparent to me that while every single one of these patients had some kind of structural, physical heart disease, every single one of them, every single one has some level of spiritual or emotional heart damage or heart disease. There was always, and these patients, we develop very, very deep relationships with these patients. We see them very frequently and we have long visits. And so, they often would share lots of details about their lives, and the level of trauma and grief and fear and struggle, just the things that these people have been through in their lives. It's like, no wonder, in my mind, I just kept thinking, well, no wonder your heart is sick. Like your physical heart is sick because your emotional heart is sick. And it's just, it was just incredibly profound to me, this aspect of that. In nursing, we are taught as nurses to look at the whole person, it's they call it the biopsychosocial model, that there's your biology, your social well-being, your emotional well-being, your psychological well-being, that all of these pieces fit together. You cannot separate these things. They are intricately intertwined. And so from that, like that nursing paradigm of looking at the whole person this way, and noticing, there's theories, Gene Watson's theory on human caring, is one of the nursing theories that's taught in school. And it's the thought that there's something more to the nursing care that we provide to people than just the dressing changes and the pills and, that kind of thing, that there is something healing in the act of caring for another person, for a human caring for another human, that energetic exchange in and of itself is healing. And I have always felt drawn to that nursing. If I had to pick a nursing theory and we have to go through a whole bunch of, that was the one. I'm like, that's it. There's something about this, like caring for a person from your heart, like giving that, like for somebody to feel cared for is healing to them. And so kind of pulling those things together with these patients, that's what I feel like I do in the heart failure clinic a lot, is just caring for somebody. And there is some intangible benefit to that. And there's a lot of things now. Gosh, I could like talk about this stuff nonstop for hours, but there's so much now. And I love to share this with my patients. Like, when I say like, we have to talk, I try to talk about these things with my patients because yes, I prescribe their heart failure medications. We talk about watching their salt intake and getting exercise and sleeping and all of that. And I encourage them to talk about these things that are weighing on their hearts, on their emotional heart. We do now have ways of measuring this from a scientific standpoint. The heart itself generates an electromagnetic field. We are energetic beings. We are energy. Our universe is an energetic universe. And we could geek out even more on quantum physics and how all of that plays into it. But in and of it's at a very simple level. When I'm explaining, especially when I'm explaining to my conventional colleagues about Reiki, about energy healing, about this stuff, I say, okay, we measure EKGs, right? An electrocardiogram. What are we measuring? We're measuring the electrical activity of the heart, the electromagnetic energy of the heart. What do we do when we measure an EEG, brainwaves? We're measuring the energetic signature that our brain cells are producing. We produce energy. Our heart produces an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of our body from this little thing. And it does it beat after beat after beat after beat, moment by moment, from the conception in the womb through the end of our lives. I mean, for 100 years, this heart will just continue to generate energy that pumps nourishment to our entire body. It's incredible. And they've just recently, go ahead.
Sorry. So hold on. You said that like literally the EKG?
No, the EKG put just on the chest, but there's other tools that they can use to measure electromagnetic fields, and they can measure an electromagnetic field that is generated from the heart that extends 3 feet from our body.
3 feet, which is about, I think, 4 meters, I think.
Yes, it's about a yard. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that is, and when you say that, let's put you in context. You're in the United States, in Eastern United States, and most of your experience is there, which is, we don't need to name where, but yeah. Okay. Just for context. Okay. So, sorry to interrupt you, because please, I want to hear more, but I also want to know why, how is it that the spiritual connection does not, or spiritual, like it's an energy force, and so much of the world of science and spirituality is divided, right? Mm-hmm. Like when we say energy work, because you're a Reiki practitioner, I'm an energy worker, and there's so much tension between the world of science and the world of spirituality. I guess it depends who you're talking to. But I definitely want to riff on that later, because I guess what you're saying right there is that is the scientific proof of the power of energy, like of the value of energy, the existence of energy.
That we do acknowledge it. We do acknowledge it in the Western conventional medical system. We acknowledge it in this no woo-woo, kind of mode. And I love bringing that together. I view myself as, and I got the message, like you're a bridge. You're bridging these two worlds and helping people to see that this isn't something really far-fetched and out there. We know it, we just don't think of it in those terms. So I either tell people when I'm trying to get them to understand that their state of being, their energetic and emotional state of being matters to their physical health. I'll talk about, we measure this EKG, right? That measures the electrical, you generate energy. I talk about the way that most people have had an experience where you have walked into a room and having no knowledge of what was going on in that room, but you felt something, like you knew you walked in on something, where people say you could cut the tension with a knife, you could feel it. Everybody's felt, what did you feel? You didn't hear any conversation, you didn't see anything, you didn't witness, but you feel the energy of what people were putting out. Animals are highly attuned to this. Children, young children, babies, highly attuned to this. You see it all the time where animals react to one person or not, they're reacting to the energy. That's how animals communicate with each other, is through the energy. So we see that. I also will ask people, especially parents, like, you have a child, I have children, like, you love your child. You have love for your child, and you would say that that love for your child is a real thing, right? Can you show it to me? Can you show me what love looks like? Can you put some in a cup? Can you measure it? Can you like measure how many ounces of love you have for your child? So you can't measure it. I can't see it with my eyes. I can't taste it. I can't smell it, but it's real. That's as real of a thing as you can know of, and it's powerful. So why is it okay to believe that, but not believe, these other things are just as real, that these other emotions are just as real? When our emotional state changes, so we change from happy to fearful, or from gratitude to anxiety, when we have shifts in our emotions, there are over 1,400 biochemical changes in the human body that happen when those emotions change. 1,400. 1,400 biochemical changes that happen in your brain. When you I talk about this with stress too, with people in stress and managing what inputs are coming into your body and into your energetic field. Were you a fan of like watching scary, like horror films when?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Every Friday, weekly. It was like the only thing to do in my hometown. Is like, come on, we had nothing to do. So movie night. Yeah. Awesome.
I used to when I was younger, and I don't like them any. Like after having kids, I'm like, I have enough things that I'm afraid of in the world. I don't need to like purposely make myself scared anymore. But I used to love, to go to these scary movies, right? And when you're sitting watching that movie, even though you in your logical brain know that that's not real, it's just a movie, but what do you feel? You feel yourself get tense, you feel yourself get clammy, you feel your heart rate increase, you feel your breathing, like holding and tensing your body. Why do you feel those things? Because there are biochemical changes happening in your body in response to what you're seeing on a television screen.
Right.
So it's your emotions, what you perceive, how you perceive the inputs in your environment cause physical changes in your body. So our emotional state and our physical health, you cannot separate them. You can't. And our heart, as much as it is the mechanical pumping center of blood and oxygen and nutrients for our body, it is also the center of our emotional pumping system to our body. And more and more, as science evolves and our technology and our ability to measure these things and see them evolves, we start to see this. We know now that the heart has its own neural network. It has its own brain that has communication to centers in your head brain. We know that the gut has its own brain, the enteric nervous system. We know now we have a cardiac nervous system, and we have our cerebral nervous system. So we have these different things, and those are very real sensations. So in trying to heal the heart or treat the heart, because these things are so intertwined, then we have to treat all aspects of that. You have to talk, like I work on getting my patients to talk about what they're feeling, just to listen to them and validate their feelings and their experiences. To ask, what kind of things do you do to take care of yourself? What kind of support system do you have? What things bring you joy? When's the last time you did something that you enjoyed? What's a hobby you used to do 20 years ago you haven't done in forever? And that, in my mind, is just as important. That's just as much a prescription that I write as their, guideline directed medical therapy for heart failure.
Okay. So I'm curious, with these patients that you talk to this way, have you seen a shift in some patients where they took this information to heart and maybe started going to therapy or started to see an energy healer or something like that, where they started to take their emotional life more seriously, and then their heart condition changed? I mean, if not, no worries, but I'm just curious if that, yeah, have you noticed that? Is that
Yeah.
ever something that
Yeah.
happened? Okay.
Yeah. I've had, I've had quite a few patients that have, I'm usually the person that if there's somebody who, gets the label as a difficult patient,
Okay.
they're like, oh, schedule them with Jackie. She'll talk to him. Because it's usually, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy getting to like connect with people on a level and to earn their trust and be able to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I get people to, talk to them and like, hey, have you ever thought about talking to somebody about this? Do you have a therapist? I make referrals and recommendations for that. But I had one woman, I had one young woman, she was under 40, and she had just had significant trauma history. And aside from her heart failure, she had like chronic pain, was on pain medications, chronic narcotics, fibromyalgia, chronic pain syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, like all of these things. And everybody had kind of like written her off, like, oh, well, there's nothing else we can do. Just take these medications. I worked with her a lot. She was very open to it. And combination of like talking, therapy. I'll teach people EFT or tapping, emotional freedom technique or tapping.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, you might think I'm crazy, but there's no side effects to this. There's no downside. It's free. You can do it on yourself at home. And worst case scenario, you feel a little silly and you waste 2 minutes of your life. Best case scenario, it treats your anxiety or your pain or whatever. So I'll walk people through that. But yeah, she ended up with between EFT, some nutrition changes and like talking through some stuff. She had come back, it was several months later, and she said, I'm on like a quarter of the amount of pain medications I was on before. And she said to the point that her doctor was like, what have you been doing with all these pain pills? If like, why do you all of a sudden not need all of these? And she's like, my pain is better. I know. Like they thought maybe she was, I don't know, had some kind of side hustle or something like diverting her pain meds, but she just didn't need them anymore because those things had resolved. I've seen people that we thought for sure their heart function would never recover. And I can't say for sure that it's all the energy, because we do good guideline directed medical therapy and standard treatment as well. But I have seen, to me, the changes that I see and notice are like, yes, we measure their ejection fraction and their pump function, but like I can sense the change in their energy field and the lightness in their mood, and all of these subtle, like making eye contact, they're smiling, they're enjoying things. They say, oh, I went out and went golfing yesterday and I haven't been able to go golfing in however long.
Wow, powerful.
And it's just for people to feel. Most of the time it's just validation of people saying like, at the end of the visit, they'll say, thank you so much. Like nobody's ever taken the time to really listen to me. Nobody's ever taken the time to explain that to me. And just to feel like somebody cares about them and that they are heard and that their pain is witnessed, it is in and of itself is healing. Yeah. I had one lady that I asked if she was open to Reiki treatment, because I happened to have some time. She had this pain that she had for months and months and months and months. And she was like, oh, what is that? And I explained to her what Reiki was. And she's like, sure, like I'll try anything at this point, because she was so frustrated. None of the pain medications were working, nothing. So I did like a 10-minute little mini Reiki. I told her, I was like, this isn't like, it's not like a miracle. It's not going to like cure your heart failure or anything, but most people feel a little bit better afterwards. She's like, okay. And I did like 10 minutes Reiki, and I sat her back up, turned on the lights, and she had this look on her face. She looked like kind of confused. And I was like, how are you feeling? And she was like, I don't know what just happened exactly, but my pain is gone.
Wow.
Like, it's gone. And I was like, yes, Reiki. So
Wow, like
anytime I
little.
can avoid prescribing narcotics and can do 10 minutes of Reiki instead, I call that a win.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been, the things that I've been implementing and doing with my patients, little by little, I'm able to kind of explain that to my colleagues in the conventional side, and they are becoming more and more open to it as they experience it. And I've offered Reiki for them and let them feel that. So my goal, my mission is to change the way that healthcare is delivered in the US. And I really, like, I know that there's going to be some way that I'm going to be able to figure out how to more formally do this kind of holistic heart care and offer Reiki and massage therapy and EFT and, all of these other pieces in the conventional medical model. I haven't quite figured all the details out yet, but
Okay. Yeah, because it seems like, so from the nurse, like what you said about the biopsychosocial philosophy in nurse training, it seems like people are primed for it, but just don't have access for what that really means. And like you are in such a beautiful position to be able to give hands-on experience of what it looks like, what it feels like. So yeah, this is a big question, but I know you're ready for it. What do you think is required for the shift to happen in medical care or as conventional medicine? Does it have it for the shift to happen? Does it have to happen in that world, or does it have to happen outside that world, or what do you envision?
I think it's happening, it's starting to happen. And I think globally we're feeling that, right? Like there's this, anybody who's like even kind of tuned in to the energetic grid of this planet can feel this kind of this forward momentum or this shift. Like there's really a lot of energy behind almost demanding transformation and demanding things for the divine feminine to come back into more balance with the masculine, that we've just been on like toxic masculine overdrive for centuries. And and that the feminine is rising and bringing that balance. So I think that, and I see that playing out in healthcare, that a lot more people are asking questions and like, no, that's not an acceptable answer just to tell me that, just to suck it up, or that too bad for you. So people are kind of demanding those things. So I think it's going to be both. I think it has to be some pressure from the outside, because at the end of the day, and I can't speak to healthcare systems outside of the US, but in the US, healthcare is a business. It is a business.
Mm-hmm.
It is run for profitability. It is run for the bottom line. It is run for financial goals. It is not, decisions are not made in healthcare based off of what is in the best interest of the patient. That doesn't mean that the individual providers, the individual nurses and doctors and respiratory therapists, we all want to do what is the best thing for the patient, but we are not the ones writing the checks. So this is not all like a dig or attack on healthcare providers on the conventional side, because you are just doing the best you can in a broken system. But the system itself, the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies that are driving, it is a business. So my barrier, even in starting a program where I'm working now, is how I have to figure out a way to make it profitable for the hospital. Otherwise, why are they going to pay me to do this thing just because patients like it and they feel better? If it's not resulting in decreased costs for the hospital, cost savings, maybe they can negotiate better contracts with the insurance companies. Can we bill? Is it a billable service? Is it something that the insurance is going to pay for? Will Medicare and Medicaid pay for it? All of that. So that's the barrier, because if you can't make it make sense in the financial bottom line, it's not going to happen unless there is so much demand from the public, from the customer base, that's going to drive changes in what's offered. So one way or another, it has to provide like a competitive advantage or some kind of financial advantage in order for that to happen. There has recently been a lot more movement in functional medicine, being, more things that functional medicine providers are doing to be able to bill. But at the end of the day, I think that it's, I don't want to see us shove conventional and alternative healing modalities into the conventional box. I want to burn. Do we curse on your podcast?
Yeah, go for it.
Or is it?
Go for it. Yeah.
I want to burn that fucking box down. Like, it needs to go away. That box needs to go away, because the box of conventional medicine and conventional healthcare has been built on patriarchy and white supremacy, and it is inherently ingrained in the way that everything about our healthcare system runs, and it has to go. It has to go. It's like, it has to go, and we have to have a new model and a new way of doing things so that we have truly integrative care, that we have truly empowering patients, to care for themselves and to love themselves, and that we are having equitable access to healthcare.
Okay, so is it possible to create that model that you're talking about? Because I know your visions for what's possible. Is it possible to create that model alongside the conventional model? Is it possible? So that we create this kind of like experimental entity, right? So we like, okay, we're going to see, imagine that it's burned down. I'm going to go on the side here and create this holistic care that I'm envisioning. I'm going to do it. I guess you still have to the patients within that system would have to be able to afford things. I guess that would be the challenge.
Yep. Like my patients now that I
good,
see in heart failure, I mean, they're choosing already between buying groceries and buying their prescription medications that are life-saving prescription medications. So sometimes they can't pay their electric bill. I mean, they really, and that's what a lot of functional medicine is, like concierge, really high-end stuff, which is great for people that can access it. But that's not my mission here on this planet. That's not why I'm here. So I've been like racking my brain. How can I do it? I think that the conventional system is burning down on its own, and the pandemic has just accelerated that because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And even in terms of heart failure, we have like exponential increases in the number of patients that are diagnosed with heart failure every year. We don't have exponential increases in the number of heart donors. This is not going in a direction that is sustainable. Same with diabetes care. We spend billions, trillions, quadrillions of dollars on diabetes care. And these are the kind of long-term chronic diseases that can be treated with functional medicine. So I think it's going to have to change. And we are in the functional medicine community building that alternative. So it'll be there maybe whenever they need something. I am working on trying to set up something like make a pilot program, proof of concept. I need proof of concept. Like currently in the heart failure realm, at least, hospitals and health systems tend to lose a lot of money on readmissions because heart failure patients are they come back into the hospital within 30 days of leaving the hospital. And if they are readmitted within 30 days, the hospital doesn't get reimbursed for that stay from the insurance company.
Okay.
So if the patient gets readmitted, the hospital loses thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah.
Tens of thousands of dollars. So there may not be, while it may not be profitable, if it can improve people's health and their self-management enough that they don't get readmitted, maybe it can save money. And that would justify the low cost of doing it. I don't know. I think there's lots of different ways to go about it. But I think that the conventional system is going to collapse on its own. And, we're kind of building these frameworks in functional medicine to be able to take over. My only, I don't know, I've racked my brain about how how to do it. Do I get a nonprofit? Do I need to go find investors? Do I need to go find people to like
I was just going to
donate money
say,
to this
like,
cause? Like, hey, if
yeah,
anybody out there listening has some money you want to donate, I would love to start a nonprofit to provide truly integrative healthcare to historically marginalized communities.
yeah. If we can find some benefactors, that's the way to go. Because I'm sure, like, I mean, I'm sure there's many people with money out there who have good hearts, you know, healthy and like expensive, who would love to support this model and see and just experiment with what it would look like. And it would, and the beauty of this experiment is that it can't fail. Like you can't, there's no way that somebody who's admitted to this kind of center that you're talking about, a holistic heart center, would leave this place in more harm.
Right.
It's impossible. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I have chills everywhere. It's just impossible based on everything you said. You know, that patient that you just talked about who came back and reduced her medication. I mean, what an amazing experiment that would be. Like, yeah, anyway, so whoever's listening, ready to donate some money to Jacque, just, you're not going to lose any money.
Just
You're going to
let me know. We can change the world. We can change the world.
Yeah, exciting. Okay, oh my gosh, on that note, so I definitely want to talk about, you know, the essence of this program or this show is talking about how we can live a soul guided life. So, you know, to me, whenever the word heart can be interchanged with, can be changed up with the word soul, you know, people often say soul, say heart, you know. So, I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but like, how does taking care of one's heart allow you to live from your soul's, you know, allow to live your soul's life, you know, rather than this only this shell or the egoic life, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree that, like, well, we talk about heart and soul, the heart and soul of your business, the heart and soul of, you know, the home, all of this terminology that doesn't come from nowhere. And I think that a lot of these patients, the issue is that they have disconnected from their heart, from their energetic heart. And that's where the imbalance, you know, comes from. So when I'm able to guide them on like, hey, you know, like how you feel matters. And you have this, you know, you can care for yourself. And I'm guiding them to reestablish that connection with their energetic, spiritual heart, with their soul. And anytime that you can, I feel like that's, you know, on my journey, my spiritual journey, I said in the beginning, like all these things that I had gone through and these different places I'd worked, these different things I'd done seemed to be all just separate, disconnected things, but I now can see how they came together. And I really genuinely feel like every patient that I end up seeing, every person that I sit down with in that clinic, I did not want to go back and work in this clinic. I worked in this heart failure clinic before. It was a very toxic work environment. I left. I did not want to go back. And the opportunity to come back came around. Some other things that I really wanted did not work out. And that was crushing. And then this was like, come back. And I was like, no, source, I don't want to do it. I was like throwing a temper tantrum, and it was like, no, you need to do this. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And our friend Leilani, I was talking with her, and she was like, no, like going back to this job is part of it. It's part of your journey. And I was like, I don't want to do it. But being there, it seems like every person, like that interaction is happening intentionally. That is a rendezvous that is divinely guided and led, because those people, for whatever reason, need a little nudge or need a little guidance to connect back to their soul, to connect back to the center of their being, of who they are. And I don't know the downstream ripple effects, but it's, you know, all of these little ripples in this pond. I have that one conversation with this one patient, and maybe they might heal a relationship, or they might heal some ancestral trauma or some previous generation trauma. There, I don't know. I don't know why I'm there to help. I'm just there to help them get back to that. And that just continues to have a ripple effect. So me saying yes to my soul's journey, me saying yes to going to be a Reiki practitioner, to talking, having the courage to talk to patients about this stuff and get over like, well, what if they think I'm a quack? What if they think I'm like Looney Tunes? Somebody's going to report me to the board. I'm going to lose my license. Getting over all of that ego-driven fear and saying yes to my soul's purpose allows me to help other people come back home to their soul's purpose. And that helping people come back home to their soul's purpose is my purpose. Like that is what I am here to do, is to help heal the hearts of people. And the downstream effects of that, I don't know, but it's pretty awesome to imagine.
Right. It can't be bad. It cannot be bad. There's no way around that. Wow, that's so exciting. I love how your soul's purpose is to literally work with the heart, like so literally with the heart. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited for you, Jacque. I'm so excited for the world that you're in. I just see big, big things for you and for everyone around you. And I know you already know that, but just I got chills everywhere again. Every time I hear you talk about your passion, I just feel so hopeful for the world. And it's such a blessing, such a blessing. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here. Could you let us know where we can reach you to follow your brilliant journey, and to also, so the benefactors can give you some money?
Yeah. That would be the best surprise from the universe ever, ever, ever. I love surprises from the universe. So I have recently gone through a rebrand. My initial business name was Blissful Heart, and I came up with that name years ago, not thinking that I was going to do anything actually heart related. My middle name's Bliss, and I don't know why that name just like plunked into my head. Well, I know why, because the universe gave it to me. My current business is Reveal Wellness, and I'm saving Blissful Heart because I have a feeling that that's going to be my nonprofit one day. So on Facebook, facebook.com/reveal, REVHEAL, like Rev Heal. Reveal Wellness, and Instagram is reveal_wellness. Website is revealwellness.com.
Okay, well, we'll have all of that in the show notes. Absolutely. So you'll be able to click very easily and find Jacque. And I'm just so excited for your new revelation. You're revealing. It's going to be it's so exciting, and just really delighted to speak with you today. Thank you so much, Jacque.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.